The information provided in this show is for informational and educational purposes only. This show is not investment advice, nor is it intended to address the financial needs of any particular viewer. The opinions expressed on this show are not intended to be an endorsement of any particular investment, strategy of service, or any other kind. You must make an independent decision regarding investments or strategies mentioned throughout the show. Before acting on information in the show, you should consider whether it is suitable for your particular situation and strongly consider seeking advice from a financial advisor. I'm so glad that you're listening today. I'm Elisabeth Dawson. You're listening to our show, Ways to Love Your Money, and it's really all about the existence of the book. And the book is Wealth by Design. And I can't tell you what a wealth of knowledge is in this book. The other point of this matter is you don't need to be at retirement age to get this book. Even though we say Ways to Love Your Retirement, it's really not the poignant piece to that. The direction that you want to go here is, what will this do for you regardless of your age, whether you're in retirement already, which it's never too late, and if you are only in your 30s and you're trying to figure this out and you're trying to take care of your young family and life is going very, very busy. So I encourage you to get a copy of the book. You know, it's right here. Go seek out our website, elisabethwithansdawson.com. You'll be able to see the podcast there. You'll be able to see news. You'll be able to see the book information. And if you go into the book section, you can click on the link and it'll take you right to the site so you can get a copy of your book. It's now available on Audible. So if you're busy, like so many people that I know, and it's so hard to sit down and actually take a read, even though it's less than an hour, which is my selling point for the book, get it on Audible, and you can hear the audio version, and it's my words speaking, which is so great. And it was a little hard for me to do, but just because I'm never sure about what everybody wants to hear, but it's really the book. It's in its full entirety. I hope you truly enjoy it. I'd love to get your feedback about it. You know, and really the topics in the book are, you know, the thought process. You know, what is the thought process? What is your relationship with money today? Most people, once I actually talk to them, and they may have a background of high intelligence. They might be engineers. They might be, you know, mechanics. They might be, you know, financial advisors from the corporate side. They might be, you know, in a finance background or accounting, or they might be a fire chief. I mean, you never know. It's the whole gamut. Highly, highly intelligent people. We are all smart people. But sometimes the common sense of things, when you actually think about it, it doesn't necessarily stick. So what am I talking about with the thought process? I'm on a mission to help as many people as I possibly can to educate them so that they can have a better future, so they can have a better now, a better tomorrow, and a better future in you know, a very long period of time for longevity to come. But we don't want to run out of time before our money runs out. We want our money to run out after we've ran out of time. So it's key to get a relationship with money out of respect and to know how financial institutions are doing business with us every day. Every little new invention out there, every little thing that you say you have to have, what do you have to have and what are you willing to sacrifice? Which there's so much that you can shed to put away in your wealth recovery account, which is definitely mentioned in our book. I really encourage you to do it. Find every little dollar, find every little mitigated risk, reduce those risks, reduce those costs that are going out to lost opportunity costs. Turn them into wealth recovery. Recover that wealth that financial institutions, banks, and the government have been taking away from you forever. And we just keep doing it. We do it unknowingly, unnecessarily, and it's time to stop. It's time to say, gosh, what can I do? You know, is that mortgage the right mortgage? Is that car insurance the right car insurance? Is that home ownership insurance the right insurance? Is you know, the groceries that I buy, am I buying the best way I possibly can? Am I buying things that I'm just throwing away? Do I need everything? Is my entertainment way out of whack? And that's really what we talk about when we sit down and speak with our clients and we go through a cash flow analysis, because the majority of people out there today do not have a budget. Our guests that are going to be coming on here shortly do have a budget. They follow it to the penny. This is a dying art. I encourage you, get involved. Look into a couple different sites so you can budget your cash flow and have it real time to your accounts and link it. Mint.com, YNAB.com. You need a budget. You do need a budget, but you need to manage your cash flow, and you need to become more accountable to your respect of your cash flow for the money that you've been so fortunate to receive, that you've worked so hard for. You need to respect it. You need to take care of it. You need to protect it. And you need to see how it's going to be able to enjoy for your future. Being frugal today will pay for not having to be as frugal in retirement. The people that don't have the retirement plan that they want to have, because the national average of savings and retirement accounts is staggeringly low. But if you're making $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 a year, and you're only putting away, $18,000 to $24,000 a year into a 401k, and you think that's going to cover that $100,000 to $200,000 to $300,000, income that you need in retirement, or you think you need, you are sadly mistaken. So it's not going to just be the retirement accounts that are going to do this for you. You've got to save, you've got to grow wealth, you've got to build wealth in all different types, shapes, and sizes. So my passion is to educate people about how to resource money back into their world. What's excess, what's leaving, what's a loss, what's a risk, and how can you receive that back into your world? How can you save it? How can you be mindful of it? How can you be conscious, and how can you change your financial behavior today? We just had the new year, and people make these financial, basically New Year's resolutions, or to go to the gym, and they say that the gym for about a month and a half is incredibly busy, so don't go then. But then after it kind of, slows down. Well, you shouldn't just make your financial goals today for only, 30 days or 45 days or 60 days or 6 months. It should be something that you're planning on every single day. And it should be something that you and your partner, you and your spouse, you and your family should be having, monthly meetings or weekly meetings, whatever it might be, but just to get excited about how your future can turn. If you don't do this, the only one that you can blame for the consequences of your future will be you. It doesn't have to be like this. You can plan for everything under the sun that you want to accomplish. I don't care if you're making $1 million or $500 a year. You can do everything that you want to do if you plan appropriately. So it's passion. It's passion for getting in control of where your finances are today. Don't care how old you are, even if you're 19 years old or if you're 99. It's about getting your whole world in order so you know exactly what to expect. Because the day of the pensions by big corporations, it's over. Or if it's anything to do with what your income is today from your employer, it might be a lot more modified. But the majority of people today do not have a pension. And we're told for future generations to come, which I can't imagine any politician ever being, elected for this, but we're told that Social Security might be going away. There's a particular year in the future that, by 2023 and 2026, Social Security and Medicare are in a desperate way to be, no longer funded. And those resources are going to stop for the average, individual out there receiving those benefits. So something has to change. Something has to change. We're hearing things from the government all the time about their spending, their budget. There's no budget there. And unfortunately, that's transferred to the average American, that they're not really planning with a budget anymore. They're just living life. And if you are using that credit card today and you say, I pay it off every month, the problem with that is your lifestyle keeps getting bigger and better because the items that you want to keep buying and putting into your life keep getting more and more expensive. So stop the madness. Because when you can live on a cash life through your debit card, through your bank account, if you don't have the money, don't spend the money. If you have the money and you can budget for that, and maybe it's the planning for your vacation or the planning for Christmas or the planning for, whatever events that are going to come up in your life, your anniversary, whatever it might be, plan ahead so that you are not surprised by the unexpected when you get to retirement or you get to the end of the month or you get to the end of the day and you don't have enough resources to pay for what you wanted to, have or accomplish in your life. So I say this with passion because this is what I talk about every day. And I think that that's why there's so many people responding to what we're saying, because it's something you all need to hear. Again, it's an incredible privilege to have our next guests. It's actually relatives of mine. It's my Aunt Billy and my Uncle Bill, and they are going to be speaking to us from Longboat Key, Florida. And I'm so happy that they have their paradise, and they just really, truly have a beautiful story that I can't wait to share with you. So stay tuned. Again, we're so grateful. Send your questions in to questions@elisabethwithans.dawson.com. And again, if you want a complimentary consultation because you're inspired by today's show, 619-640-2622. And don't forget to go on Dawson.com to get a copy of the book under the book section. It'll link you right to where you need to go. And you can see everything else that we're really working on to get the word out and the education out. So again, thanks for being here. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome to Ways to Love Your Money. I'm Elisabeth Dawson, and we have some amazing guests today, and it's really about the passion and really what turns out from success when people follow action. And the book has been an amazing forefront in this and a great inspiration by the people that I actually will be interviewing here next. It's just a little bit of a sneak peek. So I know that you've seen our book, Wealth by Design, Ways to Love Your Retirement. And this is a couple that is retired and they're living the life by the design that they wanted it to be. And I couldn't be more grateful to actually have these people in my life every single day. This is my Aunt Billie and my Uncle Bill Dawson. And they're actually in Longboat Key, Florida. And we're really happy to have him as part of this interview process today and just talk about the process of, the financial responsibilities of money and how it's really being able to create the dreams that they wanted to have in retirement. And their so-called retirement, they're busier than ever, which is amazing. So I have talked to more and more people that go into the retirement years and they're busier than they've ever been. And it's such a thrill to see because that's really how life is supposed to be. You still have so much to give back to your community. You have so much to give back to people. You were successful in your working lives, and now it's time to do things that are not just for you, which is important because, even being back more in the community is still for you. It's about being active and doing the things that really make you happy because now you have the time and the resources to do it. So without further ado, I welcome my Aunt Billie and my Uncle Bill. And again, it's a pleasure to have you here, and we are so blessed to have you interview with me on the show today.
Hi, Liz.
Hi. How are you?
Yeah, we are wonderful. We are
Good.
wonderful. I'm grateful that we didn't have to fly 3,000 miles in order to.
I'm glad we could accommodate that, so you didn't have to. Skype is an amazing thing, which is a wonderful resource. So I know, way back when you were just getting ready to retire, and there was so much going on at that time and just not knowing where you're going to land. But one of your favorite places was walking on the beach in Longboat Key. You were originally from upstate New York, and you wanted to be there. You were living there. You were renting at the time, and you weren't sure where things were going to go. But at that same time, this is not to talk about all the specifics of your life. It's really just to say where you have come from to get where you are today, those goals, dreams, and desires, and to how they accomplished. And I know we had a conversation way back when, and it was when I was speaking at a conference in Florida, and I came up to visit, and I gave you a book. It wasn't my book because it wasn't written yet, but it was a great book, and I actually have it here today because this is a great friend of mine too. It's called Learning to Avoid Unintended Consequences. It's a great read. Even though it's 12 years old, it's still very dominant for today. But I know you read it, and we talked about things that really kind of changed an outlook for you because you were a director of finance for the municipality upstate New York, which I'll let you talk a little bit more about. And you did this work for all these other people and for companies and these successes. And then we were turning that all around for you.
Well, Billie made it clear at the time that she was going to retire.
Okay.
And I made it clear to myself that she wasn't going to retire without me, so I decided to retire. At that point, I was well into my 70s and ready to do something different. We had an opportunity through a friend to be able to come, she brought me to Longboat Key, Florida, which I'd never even heard of before. I'd never been here. But we had an opportunity through a friend to come down here and use her villa for a while. So they brought me down, or Billie brought me down. I fell in love with the place. You've been here, so you have some sense of what it is. It's a lot. Today was 75 degrees, 81 over in Sarasota because we had to drive over there. And it was bright and sunny, not a cloud in the sky. Mm-hmm. tell you what it's like in upstate New York right now.
Right. I
But
think it's probably below freezing right now up there.
it was 18 degrees in Syracuse where I went to college, and
Wow.
and 21 in Ithaca. Just look now, and they're going to get some snow this week. That's okay. You know, a lot of people, that's what they're used to, and that's okay. But for us, for me in particular, I think the notion of being able to be outside all year long and and perform physical activity. We bike, we walk the beach almost every day. We do what we want. Though we're retired, we have resources, and we have enough resources. And I think that's the significance. It's scary. It's scary for folks who, as we have, worked all their lives. We put some funds away for retirement, and we realized that we had to be frugal if we were going to manifest our dreams. And we've been successful in doing that. And I wouldn't call it luck. I would rather, because it's we think, call it a manifestation. This was our intent. Our intent was to move here to Florida, live here. Not only did we move here and rent for a year, but we've been able to buy our own place. And it's a pretty spectacular place. Billy, would you care to add anything to that?
Well, we wouldn't have bought this place if it weren't for Liz. She encouraged us. We were leasing, and we were in a beautiful location. And she discussed with us the risks of leasing, and that it could change without our control. The owners could decide it was time to move down here, or they could have sold out from under us or whatever, and then we would be starting over again, and we would have to find another place. And so we decided it was time to look for a place that we could buy that would be what we wanted it to be. And we found this fantastic spot.
Yeah.
And
Yes, and I know this too, because buying real estate can be so heart-wrenching. It can be so emotional. There's so many different things in this. You had different ownership before, and you just don't know. And we think sometimes we get to a certain age in life and we go, gosh, there's a lot of liberation in not owning something. But at the same time, for you, it was about controlling that cash flow, controlling that rent, and planning long-term. You know, planning for the future, not just for the next 2 to 3 years, but really for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. And I know we have longevity in our family, which is a wonderful thing. You're going to be here forever, Uncle Bill. But you know, we plan for the unexpected.
As you know, my mom just passed away at 101.
Yes.
Just after Christmas time, and that was a heart-wrenching event for a lot of us. But she was 101, and she had a very successful life. So there's no regret. No regret. I would only add to that leasing situation that, in fact, the place that we were leasing was fantastic. It walked into our lives totally unexpected.
Right.
And it really stressed my comfort level insofar as what I thought we could afford. I didn't think we could afford it.
Sure.
But when we met our friends now, and they asked if we'd be interested in running the place. It was spectacular. It was spectacular. It was on the water, it was third floor condo. We agreed. We had to say yes.
Right.
And we did find ways to make that happen. A few miracles in there as well. I would only add to that. I don't want to get off of the topic here, but I've also written a book, and I don't know if you know this, Liz. It's gone to the publisher.
I kind of read a little bit about that, just getting prepared for our interview today, and I was going to ask you about those questions about the book. And so not only were you, a tax professional and still actually working in a nonprofit organization today, you also have become an author of a great book. And yes, I would definitely like to hear a little bit more about how this book and this passion kind of became part of your next career, if you will.
At this point, I've been a manuscript maker. The publishing hasn't
a manuscript maker. I love it.
that sort of thing. Before I get off of that topic, I did want to mention that since we did buy, we've been here for over 3 years in
Yeah.
our own place. The place that we were renting, which was spectacular, and we offered to buy it, but it was beyond our ability. They have sold it,
Oh,
so it's no
really?
longer.
Yeah.
Well, if we were leasing, we had moved
Well,
it out.
and that's part of the risk of what could happen if you were renting and you didn't really know what your future was going to be, and the cost of rent that goes up, inflation that happens. And when you get to actually really pull it together and say, I'm locking this in, and I know this is part of my cash flow, my budget, that gives you some peace of mind. And I think that you can attest to that.
I do. We do very closely monitor. We have a budget. I
Yeah.
maintain. I track it. I track our expenses. We look for alternatives to shed any risk in our investments. And
Yeah.
I've worked, as you know, I've worked with you on that. But we're constantly looking. We went shopping today. I can tell you to the dollar what we spent because I'm built that way. I'm just built that way.
Well, that should be a testimony to everyone that's listening, because if you track your expenses and you look at your analysis of cash flow, then you know what your means are, what you can live with, what you can't, and what you can save for future, and not just have the unexpected.
And I think it's reassuring to know that you get the feedback, and the feedback back explains that you're not doing anything that's going to destroy the manifestation of what we want. We want to live here. If I had hundreds of millions of dollars, as far as I'm concerned, and I believe Billy feels the same way, we would live right where we are.
Yeah.
This is
Well, you
perfect.
always tell me that you're living in paradise, and that makes me so happy to hear, because that's how you should feel. You should be living in your own personal paradise, and it truly is a beautiful, beautiful home that you've been able to have now in your life.
It was a wonderful manifestation, and I only add that we deserved it.
I love it. Yes, you do. You absolutely deserve it. So tell me a little bit about the book and where you are with the book right now. And the name of the book is Epiphany.
Epiphany, correct.
Yes. Okay. So tell me a little bit about the passion behind the book and what you would want your readers to get from the book.
I think there's two elements to it. One is the love story of how Billy and I came to be where we are today. We were married here in Longboat Key. You were here at the wedding.
Yeah.
On the beach.
Yes.
It's our intent. She's the love of my life.
As he is mine.
Yes. Makes
we
me so happy.
We run all of our decisions through that screen, through that filter. If it feels right to us, because we know what feels right to one another.
Mm-hmm.
So any decisions we're making that regard our ability to live here in paradise would put us in jeopardy of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Both make certain that we both understand what that is.
Okay.
So you asked about the book, and I departed from that a bit, but the book is that story of how our relationship manifested what we wanted in our lives, which was to live here in paradise. There's another element to it, though, and we won't get into it tonight, but we are very spiritual people, and we believe that our intentions, once we put them out there and follow the cues, follow those things, that trail of crumbs, if you will, the things that we want to happen will happen. Mm-hmm. And we demonstrated that to ourselves and now to our readers over and over again. It constantly happens. It may be regarded by some as miracles. We don't see it that way. Mm-hmm. That actually believe that's the way life operates, but you have to believe it. You have to give it your all. And that's what the book is about, how those manifestations in our life that brought us here, what we consider to be paradise, how that all came about, and how the events in our lives simply unfolded and allowed us to simply accept them, which we had to believe that was going to happen. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that had to do with money and investments, but most of it was more a matter of believing that it was going to happen.
Well, I think that's a key. If you believe in something, and you work hard towards that. We talk about wish list or goal planning, but in a different sense, you take it to another level. And we've talked about this in the past, and it's about manifesting. And truly manifesting is believing that something you really, truly, if it's the honorable, the right way, and everyone's working on that same project together, that will occur. And that's really where, you're wonderful people, and these things have actually continued because you make it part of your life. And you've been designing your life for quite some time, and it's become this beautiful, not only love story, but which is amazing and makes me so happy. But it's also about having what you want to do to help other people. I know, Aunt Billie, you're working now in community help too. Can you tell us a little bit about the work that you're doing now with some of the classes and things like this that you're working on?
Well, tomorrow's my first class.
Okay.
Bill works at the Senior Education Center here on Longboat Key.
Yes.
And we've attended classes together, and I was asked by the director there if I would be interested in running, facilitating a women's group. And so it's a 6-week class on Tuesdays for 2 hours. Tomorrow will be my first day.
That's great.
And I'm really excited. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And I'm going to be doing it with another woman. And she did the class last year, so we're doing it together this year. And very excited about it. Yeah.
That is so exciting. And I think the point for both of you, too, is that, yes, we knew, Aunt Billie, when you wanted to retire, but now you've been in retirement, both of you, and you're now kind of doing more things. But I think the key here is that you don't have to work if you don't want to.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a key for people. When you actually, plan your retirement, so ways to love your retirement, it's really about you still have more to give. And it keeps you youthful. It keeps you going. It gives so much back to all the passions that you have in life and wanting to help others too.
And the great thing is, it's not like, I loved my job. I loved it. And I loved what I did. But it wasn't always easy getting up every morning. And then, of course, being in New York State, we had, the winters were a nightmare. And this now, I'm doing things that I love to do.
That's so wonderful.
And I can fit them into my schedule the way I want to make it work.
Sure.
So it's fun.
And I would only add, a lot of what we do is giving back to others. We feel, and we know that we're very fortunate. We're very fortunate just to come to the understanding that what we wanted in our lives has been made to happen. And some of that has to do with money, but most of it has to do, again, with our intentions, being in the right place at the time.
Right.
So it's important to us to give back. We give back to our community. We do. Billie is on the landscape committee here, one of two in our section. I do the accounting for the liaison for the homeowners association. Plus, I do a little work up the road here. I actually bike over to the it's a mile.
Yeah.
So I can bike over to the education center, which I'll do tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then
I'll
bike
drive.
back. Once I got rained on, and now I've shrunk, and then I'm stuck with this.
I think you're just fine. You're just fine. Well, again, I'm so glad that you've been able to be on the show. I want to say thank you to my Aunt Billie and my Uncle Bill. And, it's great to have them part of the show today and really just give you a perspective from the point of view of when you do retire, it's not about having to go to work. It is about changing your philosophy and staying busy and keeping yourself active. And so there's no right or wrong time to start planning for your financial future. There's no right or wrong that it's too late. When you are even in retirement, you can still plan for retirement and even have it even better than your expectations were maybe originally thought about. I've said this in other conversations with people about there's a professional for everything. And it's hard for us because we think that we should know so much of what we should know, but we don't have all the resources. And you've been doing incredible work in your professions throughout your life. And when it gets time to that point to, really manage the income distribution phase when you get to retirement and the longevity phase of living a long time and being able to take care of things financially, you want to make sure that you map them all out so that when you do present yourself in retirement and you want to be even more active, it's a choice, not a have to. And changing your philosophy and really manifesting the future that you truly want to have, I think those are testimonies and inspiration for every listener to really take in today, because you can create the life that you want. Not only in your working years, but in your retirement years and beyond, and make them the best years of your life. And wouldn't you all want to be experiencing that life in paradise today? But you have to have a plan to get you there. So I know we talk about having a written retirement financial plan, but it's really about designing it the way you want to. Manifesting those goals is so key, so important. And if you really want to do it, we've been so hard at work all those years, and we're busy, and we don't think about all the things that we want to do. Well, it shouldn't just take it to retirement to get us there. We should be thinking about that throughout every single year up until that point of retirement, and then retirement becomes even that much more flourishing. Yes, money solves a lot of problems, but money creates a lot of problems too. It's the way we have a respect and a design for that money to be able to make us have the life that we desire to have and the longevity that we need it to last, and to continuously have those dollars and cents come in, but at the same time to be able to enjoy all of the things that really become new to us. My Uncle Bill has now written a book, and the manuscript is at the publisher, and he's going to get his first book published, and he's become now a writer in his new career of retirement. As well as still working with the community center and doing some tax work, because he still has so much more money or so much more time to give back and want to give back to his community and to people he cares about. As well as Billy, now she's doing things with classes for the community center and for a ladies group, and that's so amazing. Just think of all the things that you can do in design that you never thought you had the time or the opportunity or let's say the direction to want to do, and think about those, dream about those. I always say, get your wish list out every year and think about it by month, by quarter, and give yourself timelines to figure out what you want those goals, dreams, and desires to be. And those dreams will come true if you actually plan for it. I was told years ago, if you had a vision board and you kept putting things on your vision board that you wanted to accomplish, regardless of money or not, those were things that you could actually visually see, saying, that's what I'm going to accomplish, that's where I'm going to go, that's what I'm going to get, that's where I'm going to be, and really picture this beautiful life. Those things will happen. So it's a dangerous thing. I always say the wish list is a dangerous thing, because if you know what you're working for, you will accomplish it. If you are just waiting for life to happen, guess what? It doesn't happen. It won't happen the right way that you want it to. It might happen the wrong way, and it might be unexpected. Do things that you're expecting. Do things that you want to accomplish. There's going to always be some unexpected truths that come along, but at the same time, if you are designing your life the right way and designing the relationship you have with money and with goals and with future and with plans and with community and giving back, you can accomplish anything. You can truly accomplish anything, and you can give that back so much more to the people that you love and care about, not just in your community, but also as an inspiration to your family. Like my Uncle Bill had said too, my grandmother recently in December passed away at 101 years of age. An incredible inspiration, not only for me, but for my entire family. And I would want to have that be my legacy as well. And I know that my Uncle Bill and my Aunt Billy are working through those goals too, to make sure that their legacy is something that is just, stamped in time and something you can follow for the rest of your life. And know this too, and I love this fact, and this is my fun fact for them. They have a love affair that is so beautiful, and they are each other's true soulmates. And I wish and I pray and I hope for everyone out there listening today that that's what you all have in your lives as well. So again, grateful for our guests today. I really hope that you got a real sense of meaning from a personal situation, but also one that's still incredibly thriving and doing so much back with this world and within their community and within their families too. So just remember, don't be a procrastinator at this point in your life. Be a motivator. Be proactive. Start to plan the future that you want. The present, the future. The future's scary. it's scary when we go to retirement and we don't have the cash flow that we think that we need or the income coming in. We have to create the income to happen. So don't be a procrastinator and don't be unexpected to what will come for your future, but be mindful, be proactive, have solutions, or if you need help with those solutions, find a professional that can actually help you accomplish those. So without further ado, we are grateful for your listening today, and hopefully you had something that was of major impact to you. And we'd love to hear your questions. We'd love to hear your feedback. If you even want to reach out to us to set up a complimentary consultation, you can call us at 619-640-2622. And you can email us your questions at questionswithans@elisabethwithans.dawson.com. Thank you.